Hey there, good morning, everyone. How you doing? Really excited for today's video because, well, we have a lot of pens that we have to go through. I'm realizing that my video is flipped for some reason, and I'm not quite sure why. So let's see if we can change this. Oh, don't you just love the morning trying to get stuff up and running? Why is my thing flipped today, friends? This isn't supposed to be how we start our day. Let's see if we flip stuff around. This works out. There we go. It's not how I wanted it to be, but it's how it's gonna be. How's everyone doing today? I'm starting off great so far, obviously. Cameras flipped upside down. We don't know what we're doing. But excited today because we're gonna have some fun. I got a bunch of pens. This is actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, a little bit of FOMO from not being able to go to the DC Pen Show this year. And so to curb my sadness, I decided to go on a little bit of a pen spending spree. And I got a bunch of new stuff that just came in. So it's going to be a good one. Good morning, everyone who's able to join us. Ross, it's my own voice. I know y'all really did not like my AI yesterday from my shorts. It just makes me, it feels good to know that y'all appreciate listening to me, but also I just was cracking up all day yesterday with all of the amazing um all of the amazing comments in that video. So let's get started. So we've got a bunch of stuff to go through. A lot of this stuff, my little secret pen stash over here, from basically from like 3 different places. We have some pens that are from Atlas Stationers. We have some pens that are from Vaness Pen Shop. And then we also have a new pen that I just got. This one is already available from Ferris Wheel Press as well. This is the Bijou pen, which I'm excited to try out today. We got a bunch of different brands going on today. Some that are brand new to me. The Opus is brand new to me. We also have a pen here from Waterman, and everyone tells me this is amazing. I'm really excited to write with it today. So we're just going to go through as we have them, and we will have a good time and see what's going on. There's a pen show in Philly in January. I think I might have to go there. That not too far away from me, but would be super fun to do. So let's kind of go through stuff. I'll start with what I got from Atlas. As I kind of go through with this, like I said, it's a bit of a mix inside of here, but just kind of letting you know, I'll try to group it as best as I can. We'll talk about the pens, some of the features, why I chose these pens, and we'll also be doing some writing samples today so you can see what they look like. And that way, if you're interested in them, of course, we'll talk about price and everything else that goes along with it. So it's all there. You're right. Atlas had an amazing sale. Their sidewalk sale was just going on. What did you end up getting, Kate? We have to know. It's amazing. All right, Nikki, how do we pronounce this? Is it Kareen is the way the Waterman pen would take a look at? I know so many people love writing with it. I hadn't really heard of them before, but got it. So let's go through all of them. It'll be a good time. All right, so I'm just gonna organize things real quick because, like I said, I got them from a few different stores, so I want to make sure that I have things in the right spot. A lot of these items you can get from the same places, but for me, I personally like to kind of show you, like, okay, I got this from here, especially for some of the more common pens. You can get a lot of these stuff across different sites. For instance, like you can get the Ferris Wheel Press pens at any store. So if you're looking for them, I always say look for the best deal because it's important. I'll also let you know about any discount codes that we have going on as well. So if you're interested in and chatting about any of those, we can do that too. And that way you just know like where you can save some money if there's anything specific that you might be looking for. And we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and start over here. I already have the new Pilot filled up. This was the one I'm using for my weekly pen. It's been amazing. So I can't wait to get to that one. I got that one from Vanness. So we'll share that with all the other Vanness stuff here. But let's start here with everything that we got from Atlas Stationers. So the first thing that I got from Atlas Stationers, which I was actually really excited about, Ludite, I think is how you say it. This is the Benny pen case. They had sold out of this one a while ago as soon as they got it. And they had other colors, but I really wanted this khaki color. This one I personally felt like just looked a lot nicer. So this is a really cool pen case. You can fit 4, maybe 5 pens in here. This little slot here is very small. Like it definitely would not fit like the TWSBI in here very well. But if you have like a really thin pen or even a pencil could fit well in there. What I loved about this case is that it has these snaps on it. So it kind of looks like a regular pen bag or a stationery bag when it's all snapped shut. And it has the 2 zips here, which were super nice as well to kind of put some extra stuff into if you need to. I've got extra accessories and stuff from the TWSBIs inside of here. But then you can just pop it open and then have access to all of your pens, which I thought was really nice as well. So this pen bag itself sells for $35. Again, over on Atlas Stationers, if you ever get anything from them, I do have a discount code, which is MARKYOURPAGES10. And on most things, it saves you money, but there are like a handful of brands. I think like TWSBI is one of them. You can't use it on. I don't know if the Waterman ones you can. They tend to be more the like more prominent pens. Some of them that are kind of expensive, not all of them, but you can check and see if it works out. If not, still very nice pens nonetheless. So that was the first bag I got. Like I said, I really wanted it. I like taking my pens with me, and I put like pencils and ink pens and stuff, especially when I go into work. Like yesterday, for instance, I was at work, took a pen bag with me, has kind of what I need to get stuff done. I come home, I work from home. So it's just one of those things where it's easy just to like have things with me when I need them and then not when I don't need it. So that's the pen bag itself, which is super nice, and I like it. So that was the first thing that I got from them. All right, so let's just talk about the big boy first. We're gonna go from like most expensive down to least expensive today, and that way we just start at the top and we go from there. That's just how it's gonna be. So this is from Waterman. Kareen, I believe is how you say it. This pen retails for $324. So it is definitely on the more expensive side, no doubt about it. But when I talk about pens being like really nice, now this one was actually on sale when I got it. So I got it on sale for $324, originally $405. I don't always spend a lot of money on pens. I definitely do not think that anybody should buy a pen that's that much that expensive if you really like don't have the funds to buy it. But there are a few pens that I save up for that I think are really nice. And I also have like store credit and gift cards and stuff like that that I get to check this out. This pen comes in a bunch of different colors, which is super nice. Like I really, really appreciate everything about it. Let's take it out of here. Inside of the case as well, you do get a few things. You get like you get a cartridge if you want to fill it up that way. It comes with a converter inside of it already, and then you get the instructions to how to fill up your pen. But we're pros around here, so we definitely don't need to worry about those instructions. But the reason I got this pen is because of how cool it is. Not just like the look of it's pretty basic, but the nib on this thing is incredibly cool. Like unlike any other pen I've ever had before. Like this is definitely one of those pens where you're just like, damn, like I saw the nib on this and I was like, I don't even know how this thing works. Like that's kind of crazy. But what's really cool about it, and you may be able to see it, it's kind of hard, but you see that little tiny hole right there. That's how you put ink inside of this pen. So it reminds me a little bit of like a dolphin or a whale, like a little blowhole that's there. And that's how you fill up this pen. Go ahead and unscrew it. So you'll see that there's the converter that's inside of here that comes with it. Or again, if you prefer to use a cartridge instead, you absolutely can. I did fill this up a little bit and I was like, I really like this pen. I'm going to save it though for next week because I was going to work this week and I didn't want to lose it. Not that the pen I took with me was not expensive, but like this is just one of those things where I feel like I want this to be at home. Like that's where I want this to live for right now. And where it will live for right now. So I got this one in a fine, and I was trying to think about what inks I wanted to use today. Aqueduct has been like a favorite of mine from Birmingham Pen Company. I have some others from Ferris Wheel Press that we'll also use today too, but just want to kind of show you like what these look like. Emazy says the Waterman has been on your bucket list for ages, and I can understand why. I mean, this is definitely not a cheap pen by any stretch, but I think if you're the type of person who is like holding on or waiting for something good, this might be it. So I'm just going to dip it for right now because I want not to fill it up. I don't want to fill up all my pens and then like have to clean them. I just cleaned out my Cochran, my Mark Twain yesterday, and I will just tell you, not a fun one to clean out because it has a bladder fill. And I think you can take all of this off, but I was just like squeezing this little thing and getting water in here and trying to do it. And it was a huge pain in the ass. I did clean it out, but I just don't want to have to clean out every pen. So I'm just going to dip them and then we'll do a little clean afterwards. All right. So I'll just do like a little, see if I can get, there we go. Waterman. And then this is the Kareen. I believe I'm saying it right. If I'm not, y'all tell me. You know, it is what it is. When I write with this pen, it actually and honestly feels like writing with a ballpoint pen. It's just something about this nib, like versus it feeling very scratchy or anything else like that. It just feels really nice as you write with it. And I think it's fantastic. It's awesome to do and just see that Papercraft Chronicles. Glad to see a fellow lefty using fountain pens with ease. Yeah, anyone can use a fountain pen. You just have to turn your paper the right way so you're not smearing it and give it plenty of space to write with. But really, honestly, I know why people fall in love with these pens because this is ridiculously smooth. Like I said, it feels like writing with a really nice fine point pen, which I write with when I'm not writing with fountain pens. And I'm such a fan. It really was pretty incredible. So excited for this one. I don't know a whole lot necessarily about Waterman. I know that they have some fantastic pens. I know that people absolutely love using them. I think it's fantastic. But my biggest thing with this one really is that it's ridiculously smooth to write with, and I'm so incredibly excited about it. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of rinse this off just a little bit. I'll give it a little bit of a better clean. I just want to make sure I'm not putting ink on these and then like leaving them out to dry. Well, they need to be left out to dry, but leaving them not drying. All right, so that's the Waterman, and I love it. Like I said, super excited about it. So that we have. All right, the next one that I got as I go through from most expensive, which that's ridiculous, not ridiculously expensive, but it was pretty expensive. Some might say ridiculously expensive. The next one that I got is TWSBI. This is the TWSBI Eco. This is in clear. I got this in a medium just because I don't have a medium that I think I'm not 100% sure about. I also just wanted a clear pen. The TWSBIs, the Eco specifically, $32 is what this one is. I have so many TWSBI pens. I think when I first started to get into the TWSBI pens, it was because of the ease of use was the biggest thing. I also like that they come in so many different colors and styles. It really is fantastic. So if you've never used a TWSBI before, you can say I already cleaned it out a little bit. The TWSBIs are great because everything's kind of built in. You don't need to really do too much with it. You dip your pen into your ink, you twist here at the top, it pulls this up, which is fantastic. And then you can see all the ink that you have. One of the reasons I love demonstrators or clear pens is because I can see how much ink is in there. I personally absolutely love, seeing ink inside of here. And I just think it's so fun. Ink has its own personality. And that's why I love when I collect it so much, is because it is just super fun to use. What's great about these also is that TWSBI gives you everything that you need to take care of your pens as well. So I put all of the pieces inside of here, but inside the packaging, you get a few things. You get a wrench and you get some silicone grease. Now, I have not had to really do anything much with my TWSBIs other than one pen I did have to return. But essentially, they give you everything. If you unscrew it, it fits right in here. Make sure I'm turning it the right way, right? It helps you to be able to clean it out. And for most people, including me in this case, I don't do this a lot. Even when I clean out my pens, I typically just like, turn them up and turn them down, suck water in, push water out a handful of times until it's clear. But if you really wanted to do a super good clean, especially when there's water in it, you can pull them out. And again, everything is here. And then after a while, they give you the silicone grease. You just put a little bit on this plunger deal, right? And that goes back inside of here and you screw it back together. And that's everything you need to take care of a pen, which, as a first time pen person, I didn't say it was easy to then put it back together. Come on. It's like, no, Mark, this isn't the way that we want to do this. Get that wrench in there. There we go. Everything's opposite, I guess, so that you don't accidentally, pull everything apart while you're doing it. So they give you everything you need. Again, I have rarely ever needed to use these tools. I actually have an entire drawer filled with all of this stuff because, again, I haven't really needed it. But it's a super easy pen to use. Not super expensive. Like I said, I think to spend, on average about $30, $35. A lot of times for most people, that's a really expensive pen. And I'm not going to lie to you, it kind of is, right? Like, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? You don't have to go spend $300 on the pen. These write really nice as well, as we're going to test out now. So I'm a really big fan. Sarah, not me looking at the Uli fountain pen last night because using my A&O fountain pen as a dip pen because it's missing internal components. What is going on? Nothing wrong with the Ulis. I have an Uli. I don't necessarily use it all the time, but I have one because you're just like, oh, that's really inexpensive and it works really well. And there's nothing wrong with that. What happened to your Archer and Olive fountain pen? What do you mean you have missing components? I need to know more. Why? What happened? All right. So this is the medium that I got for TWSBI. These write really nice as well. Again, there's nothing wrong with these. These are very smooth too. When you're comparing something like Waterman and TWSBI, definitely when it comes down to like the materials that it's being used with, things along that line, there's definitely a major difference, right? Resin, clear resin, internal components, definitely not as expensive, but still writes beautifully, and I love it so much. And it's super easy to use. The other one isn't difficult because, the converter that's inside of the Waterman works the same exact way. The piece just comes out. Everything's just already built inside of here. And if anyone has any questions in the chat as we're going through on this too, just let me know. I'll answer to the best of my ability. Otherwise, we're just having fun this morning and checking some stuff out. So that's a TWSBI medium. Is what I got here, and it looks really nice. I really like it. I'm just adding to the collection here for sure. Oh, you know what? I'll have to clean this one off again. If I'm gonna be consistent with things, let's just be consistent. This one was a fine point. So you can see a little bit of a difference, but it's not super significant in the fine and medium. It's a little bit broader there. That's about it. I'm finding a lot of the times, my extra fine, I don't know if I got anything. I probably got at least one pen and an extra fine this time around. I don't notice a whole lot of difference, honestly, between like fine and mediums, but it does depend on the pen itself. That's actually a really important part. Like as you're taking a look at pens and trying them out, that's why I love going to pen shows and actually going into actual stores, because a lot of the time you can test out your pen before you get it. And that's a really important part, especially if you're the type of person who's like not quite sure if I want that. Now you can kind of figure it out. It's not the worst thing in the world. Sarah asked, do I have any racks for plunger type fountain pens like that in the budget category, especially that could be found on Amazon? That's where I have gift cards for. I think you can actually get TWSBI pens on Amazon, Sarah. Um, you can there's a lot of different fountain pens. I'd have to look and see what is there, to be honest with you. I'm not 100% on Amazon, just because a lot of the times I'm purchasing stuff from the stationery and pen stores themselves. Either have store credit or that's where my gift cards are. So I understand. TWSBI does have other pens that are less expensive than $30. I would just go to like Atlas Stationers, like I said, or another pen shop and just look through the brand, and then you'll see all the different ones that we have. All right, the last pen that I got from Atlas, I think, right, I did, Yingels, was this Kaweco. So I have other Kaweco pens that are pocket pens. So this is actually my first Kaweco pen that is not a pocket pen. And I'll be honest with you, I don't necessarily absolutely love Kaweco pocket pens. Personal preference there. That's just me. This one, even though it looks like it's pink, my wife is like, "That's bright pink." It is infrared, my friends. So this is called a Perkeo. Is the style of this one? This one goes for $29, and that's because it is kind of, I'm gonna say limited or special edition, but it's a special color that they have. So it works out well. This pen is also super easy to work with. This comes with a cartridge already, or they send you one without, because you can fill these up yourself. If you didn't know that about cartridges, after this is used all the way, if you want, you can always refill them. You grab yourself an ink syringe, you suck up your ink, you put it in here, and it works well. And you can reuse these for a good amount of time. They're not forever, because eventually the plastic will start to like open a little bit more. But for the most part, these are just really fantastic to use, really easy to use. I believe you can also buy, you probably can put a converter in here. If you have a Kaweco converter, you can just put those in here and use them too. Let me take that one out of there so I can just show you how it's used. Everything about this is normal. Nothing too crazy on this one. Again, I got this as a more for the color than anything else. But they do come in like a bunch of different colors and kind of whatever you want. And so I got this one in a medium as well. This one is a little bit more bouncy when you do that. When I talk about bounciness, as I'm pressing down and writing with it, there's a little bit more give on this pen as you're writing with it. And some people really like that. Some people don't. For me, I like it because it is kind of the fun of writing with a fountain pen, is to have some of that bounciness as you're writing with it. You can get a little bit of those differences, as you're going through with them. It works out really nicely, right? And so I can do like the thicks and the thins and kind of get that a little bit more out of these when it has a bit. I mean, any pen can do that, but this just has a lot more flex in it. So I feel really good about it when I'm writing with it. It does glide really nice over the page. So even if you aren't pressing down super hard, glides, there's no scratchiness. And it's funny because like when I write with a pen and it's scratchy, I know, but like I'll give this to my wife and be like, "Hey, Stace, try this out, see, tell me what you think." And she's like, "Oh, I don't know, that feels very scratchy." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like there's no scratch at all. Like this is," and she's like, "It's kind of scratchy." But she uses a lot of she uses a lot of ink pens in her day to day. She's not fooling with fountain pens often. Also, she's a teacher and kids will steal. They have stolen pens right off of her desk. It was just a Preppy, like platinum Preppy. So it was similar to this inexpensive pen, $2-3. But of course, it's not a regular ballpoint pen. So they get all excited about it. So it's always funny to me when she's like, "So you gave me that Preppy pen to use, and it does not exist anymore." And I was like, "What do you mean it doesn't exist?" She's like, "A kid stole it." I'm like, "Oh, fun." So yeah, so this is actually really nice. So I'm always excited to talk about the different pens, and like I said, try them out and show the difference. So you have the Kaweco here in a medium, which feels much more bold than the TWSBI that we had in a medium as well. Just all has to do with the pens and kind of what's going on and how it is. I'm gonna have to really clean this one out now. I don't know if you all can see it, but even with fountain pens, when you use them as a dip pen, it's doing its job, which is pulling ink up into the feed. Even though I only just dipped it just to get it on here, it's up in here. So I'll have to do a little bit of a deeper cleaning on this one. It'll work out really well. I also love this one too because the feed is clear versus like black. So everything about this pen was just really exciting for me. I think that it is just fun, and I think fountain pens should be fun. That's my personal opinion. Spellcast art, I have a purple AL Kaweco, and it's my least favorite pen. Nib tends to be a bit too scratchy for me. I think that's exactly what my issue is with some of those the pocket pens. Just not a huge fan of them necessarily. Tom likes the Perkeo. They write really nice for the money. Totally agree with you. I think the basic one, $17 in the non-limited colors, and they don't dry out either, which is nice. Awesome. I love that. Papier fountain pens start at $14. Yeah, so you can get these relatively inexpensive. You're right. This one was $29, but I agree with you. I think that it was because it was special color. You're right. Kaweco, you can get Perkeo $18 over on Atlas. And I think you can use my discount code if you want to over there on these two. Mark your pages 10 over at Atlas. I would just put it in, and that way you see what's in your shopping cart if you do anything before you hit go. And shop and buy and just see what happens. I'll be honest with you, that's what I do. Anytime that I'm about to buy something, I'm like, let me just see what discount code can work. I don't use my own on these websites, but I will use other people's to support a creator that I know has one. And also just to see if I can save some extra money, because sometimes it's not all raindrops and roses and sunshine. All right, so that's what I got from Atlas Stationers. So let's go ahead and talk about all the pens that we got from Vanness. So Vanness, one of my new favorite shops. I've been purchasing from them for a bit. We've done a handful of videos with them, with some just kind of like pen hauls, and I've really enjoyed myself pen hauling over there, and I really enjoyed my shopping trip this time around as well. So for this one, now I did spend a little bit more at Vanness because I had some store credit from them, from some of the work that we've done together. So shout out to you all for anyone who has purchased from their website using my discount code, because that is what feeds me to be able to use store credit and get some cool stuff like I got today. So over on Vanness, the discount code there is just MARKYOURPAGES. And I'll put them all in the descriptions in case you want to come back to check anything out, but just throwing that out there because I did spend a little bit more here because I had that and I wanted to try some new stuff. For instance, I wanted to try this Pilot. This is the E95S. And when I first saw this pen, I thought it kind of looked a little old manny, just because of the style of it. But I've decided that it's more of a classic aesthetic than like an old man pen. What I love about this one is going to be all of the details, and I especially love how this pen kind of constructs itself. This pen is $160. Could be a little bit less. I don't remember if Pilot is one that you can or can't use the discount code. Again, pop it into your shopping cart, put in the code, see if anything pops up. But excited about this one specifically. I got this one in black with the gold trim. It does come as some other color options if you're interested. Mostly interested in this one because of the nib. So, between this one and the Waterman pen that I got, very similar in style with the nibs. And this was I didn't mean to kind of go this route with these, but I feel like once I saw the Waterman nib, I was like, ooh, I really love that style. And then when I was looking, unexpectedly found this Pilot pen, and they have like a very similar kind of style to it. And the price difference is like half, right? So we said we were over $350 for this one. The Pilot is $160, so it's about half the price, and writes beautifully. I'm absolutely, completely obsessed with this pen, having written with it for a few days now. Let me go ahead and pop that over there. So the way that this pen works is that it's stored a bit smaller inside of here, the cap and the body. You pull out the body and you turn it around, and it's kind of like posting the pen, but this just turns it into a full-size pen. So the other day I was like real quick, took this off, and I forgot to put it on. I was like, oh, this pen feels so small. What's great about these pens when they pop those on there is like adds length, feels really good in your hand. So if you're the type of person who just wants to write with a small pen real quick, go for it. I personally just don't love that. I really like a pen that kind of holds well in my hand as I write with it. It's not heavy, it's super light, it's awesome. I love it so much. This one also has a 14 karat gold nib, also the reason this is a bit more expensive. So it's something that, if you're playing around with different pens and trying them out and want to kind of splurge a little bit, everyone tells me that a gold nib writes smoother. And I can tell you that it definitely does. It's beautiful and I love it. You fill up this pen just like any other pen. You're going to unscrew the back here. That will show the converter that was already inside of here. You could also use a cartridge if you want to. These are super easy to use. I'm not going to show you, but you just turn these just like the others because this is already filled with ink because this is the pen that I've been using this week. And I've loved the way it's written so much. So this one is going to be an extra fine nib, and it is true to its name. It is beautiful. So I'm just going to write it out. And why am I doing lowercase letters? I write in all caps. Something wrong, but I'm just going to flow with it. It looks like baby writing whenever I write in lowercase letters. I write in caps all the time, so it makes sense. So this is the E95S, and this is extra fine nib. And you can certainly see how extra fine it is. It's super nice, and I love it so much. It works out really nice, and it writes nice. Now this one does feel more scratchy, but it's also because this is an extra fine nib. And so extra fines are kind of like your needlepoint type pens out there. But the way that this one writes, it just looks so good. I'm just writing all my notes in my bullet journal this week, and I'm just loving the extra fine nib. I love how soft it is. Again, it's a soft writer, but I don't even know if you guys can hear it. Maybe I could hold this up here, but right, you can hear that a little bit as you're going through with it. So if you're the type of person that doesn't like a super scratchy pen, then this nib size might not be the right one for you. But love it. It works out well. Got a lot of people in the chat loving their gold nibs as well. I think they're fantastic. Tom was saying that he's got one that is super bouncy. I'm just in love. I really honestly think that it's like, I don't know. It does work really well. So it's like one of those things where for a long time I was like, I don't know if the gold nibs actually matter or not. I think that they might, but I also don't have another pen to use that is the same exact like make model without the gold nib. So I might get another one of these. I really do love the way they work and the way they write, and everything is just super fantastic about it. And then we can compare and we can see if anything. What's up, Cass? How's it going? You had to walk your dog. Well, hopefully your dog went to the bathroom and everything was good. But excited to have you back. Sarah, I do have to say that I was thoroughly surprised at how much ink the A&O holds as a dip pen. Yeah, dip pens are fantastic. Those rungs on the dip pens, they're there for a reason. They hold on to a ton of ink. They're doing their job. So excited that you're enjoying that one because it's, it works out really well. All right, so that was the Pilot, the E95S, $160. So that was that one there. And let's see if I'm going to do price wise again. We're going to go high, and then just super low because that's how I work. So the next pen that we got, I have never heard of this pen brand before. This is Opus 88. And I saw this color and I thought, yes, I need it. And this was before Taylor Swift announced her new orange era. And I got it anyway because I thought it was really neat looking. I also got this because I've never had a pen like this before. And it came with an eyedropper because this pen is an eyedropper fountain pen. There's a lot of pens I've seen that you can convert into an eyedropper pen. I've never seen one just come as an eyedropper before. And this was very interesting. My wife doesn't love this color, but I thought it was a really cool color. It's orange with yellow. To me, it just looks all orange, but it has like this really cool kind of, it's not a texture, it's smooth, but it kind of just looked like a very like a vintage pen. Like this almost kind of reminded me of like cork a little bit. So if I'm reading the description, blends of yellow ebonite with clear orange acrylic into an eyedropper filler pen with a shut-off valve mechanism. So we're going to take a look at this all in a hot second. But the way that you fill this up is just so different than any other pen. And I thought I needed to try this and see what exactly is happening here. So what you do is you unscrew this section and you fill with the eyedropper. So we're going to unscrew the nib, and then you'll see in here that it has a plunger in it, but this is not used the same way, and it's very squeaky because it looks like you should just be able to like suck the ink up. And maybe you can, right? Like maybe I'm not doing it the right way, but I don't think you can, because the difference here between something like the TWSBI, for instance, right? The TWSBI has this mechanism here, right? You see it on here, and this is what like vac kind of sucks it up here with the vac. This doesn't have that, so it really is just like a plunger. So what I believe that this is here is that this is kind of like I call it a shut-off valve, but I think it stops your pen ink from coming out, right? So you will use this ink dropper, right? You would, I'm not going to do it because I'm not filling up this pen yet. You would suck up your ink. You would then eyedropper it in here, right, to fill this up. And then you're going to put your cap on here. Now, one of the most important parts of this is this O-ring that's on here. That's the gasket that essentially is going to say, no ink, you are not coming out of here today. And then what I've come to understand about it is like, as you want more ink to come out of your pen, you kind of like unlock this a little bit, right? And this is what makes me so nervous about stuff like this, right? You'll see in there that it lets some air in there as you go through. So that's why I'm nervous. This is definitely a pen that I have to fill and I have to use at home, right? Like that is going to be really important for me because traveling with interesting pens, while don't get me wrong, I love a nice eyedropper, is not going to work out in my favor. Just have a feeling about it. So this will be one that we try at home and see how it works out for us. But this was really exciting to not just get a pen like this. I think the color's nice. Price on this one was $93 when I purchased it. So it is a little bit higher up there, but I think we're dealing with like really coolness happening here, right? Like looks really nice. It's super interesting. This pen, if I'm looking on the Vanness site right now, is sold out currently. So you can add it to your wish list or check out the other ones. But everything about it, super cool, super neat. And I'm very excited. And we're going to try it out because I got this in a fine. Let's pop this over here. Again, I'm just going to be dip penning it today because filling this pen scares me a little bit. But I'm trying to do better with not being scared of my pens. You know, when I was, filling up that Mark Twain with the crescent and that bladder fill and all of that, I mean, I got that pen and I didn't use it for a really long time because, to be honest with you, it scared me because it was a different system. So this is a number 6 steel Yovo nib. Does that run this one here? Number 5 steel. So here is a mistake that I made. So I also had purchased another Yovo nib, but as a number 6. So it's different. This one takes a number 5, and I bought a number 6, the Flex Extra Fine. But this one is just a fine nib. However, very springy. When I was talking before about the other pen having a spring to it, this one has it. And I don't know how well you can necessarily see it when I'm writing with it. I'll do it in just a second when I'm writing this. But like when you press down, you can get a lot of ink out of this one. It feels very bouncy as you're writing with it. And I like this. I actually haven't written with this one yet. This is my first time writing with it, which is super nice. Now this one isn't scratchy at all. There's no scratchy sound coming from this as I'm writing with it. And this is a fine nib, so not that they do. I mean, you can hear it a little tiny bit as I'm writing with it now, but it doesn't sound. It's just sounds like you're writing across paper, So it's super nice. So yeah, this is I'm very excited about this pen as a whole. I think that it's going to be fantastic. Tom's saying he loves his pen because they hold a ton of ink. I can see that you absolutely could. This thing, I can even think about how many milliliters that this sucker is going to hold when I fill it up all the way. Um, but it's amazing. I really think it looks cool. It has a cool vintage color to it. I don't think I have any orange pens in my collection, and so I like to, diversify. So my first one from Opus, and we'll probably have to do just the whole video on this one when I'm finally filling it up, um, to see what that looks like. So very excited about that one. Like I said, $93. Unfortunately, this color is sold out over on Vanness, but there are other versions, so you can check them all out if you want to. You're right, Tom. This is perfect for fall. I completely agree with you. It'll be good. All right, so that's that one there. Now, I'm going to switch from fountain pens over to a pencil for a second. So, as of recently, I have been obsessed with Kaweco's clutch pens. I got a really big, giant one, which is fantastic. And what's really cool about clutch pencils is that they hold giant pieces of graphite, and the mechanism is super cool as well. They look really neat. So if you don't want your pencil lead out as at all, they come in all these different thicknesses. So this is a 5.6. So that's why he's so big, is because, uh, but he doesn't write big, right? Like probably after a while, after I write with it for a while, um, it'll be good. But brass, like super nice. Love it. So then I was on the site, and when I was looking around, I saw another one that was much smaller. So this is a 3.2 millimeter pencil from them as well. Clutch style still. This is just this one's Skyline Sport Black is the color. So it feels a bit different. When I was talking before about writing with pens and pencils and them feeling good in my hands, this one's right there on the cusp of feeling a little too small, because it doesn't kind of go up higher on my pen, but it rests okay and it holds okay. This one I really like. It goes up just a little bit higher. It's ever so slight, right? Like when you're writing with it. I mean, I guess they almost look, the body styles are pretty similar, but you can see this one is just a little tiny bit smaller in the body length. So I really like this one, feels really good. This one's kind of right there, like I said, but still writes, nice. I mean, all of us at some point in our life have written with like a tiny pencil. You're holding on to the last little dregs of a pencil and you're going with it. I've been using this one a lot, even though, like I said, I'm still kind of getting used to it in my hand, but it's a really nice, easy grab. And like I said, I'm just a really big fan of these mechanisms. I think they're super cool. And this is only $22. So if you're the type of person and you want to try a different type of pencil, awesome. I haven't had to rebuy any of the graphite yet for these. I'm sure that we can. I'm sure that we can get them from the pen stores. I'm sure we can probably get them on Amazon or somewhere else too. But excited about these nonetheless, and cool to have as part of my collection here. So let's go to the very not expensive pens. So these are my favorite to recommend to people. These are from Platinum, and these are called Platinum Preppy. These pens, this one was $6. This one was $7. I don't know why there's a difference between them, because they are the same. Maybe it has to do with the color. Maybe, I don't know. But Platinum Preppies, to me, are the best pen to use when you want to start to get into some fountain penning. The reason I say that is because they are very inexpensive. Like I said, $7, $6 for these. And they kind of give you everything you need for a pen. And what I love, they have the cartridges that come with. If you want to buy them like that, you most certainly can. I just recently just purchased a platinum converter because I have a bunch of these pens, but I don't love to always fill up cartridges all the time, because there's a lot of ink in there, and a lot of the times, I'll be honest with you, um, hasn't been fantastic. Like I use them, or I don't want to use them all the time, and then they dry out, and it kind of is what it is. I like to have a converter, because that way I can put whatever type of ink I want in there and just kind of use it and see what happens. Zahara, have you had any luck using shimmer inks in the Preppy? I recently tried a no-go uh, with its cartridge or as an eyedropper. I haven't, but I say we give it a try. I have some shimmer inks that we can certainly try, and because I have a converter here, it doesn't have to be a whole shebang. We'll try it out. We'll see how it works. I do have the Ferris Wheel Press pens, though we will use. These have always been very good, but a little expensive for the bijoux, but we'll talk about that in a second. Right now, we're talking about the Preppies. So they come in a bunch of different sizes as well, like I talked about. So this one is a 0.5. This one is a 0.2. So this is going to be thicker. And let's go ahead and get a new sheet of paper. And let's see how they write. I'll fill this one up with some shimmer ink in just a second, because now I'm curious, because I've never tried shimmer inks in a lot of pens. So we'll see what happens. I'm all about experimentation today, friends. All right. So this is going to be our Platinum Preppy. This one here is a 0.5. So this is going to be thicker than the other pens. So just pay attention to that when you are buying them. What I love about them, like I said, they write nice. They're super inexpensive. If you're just starting to play around, it's an REPPY. Is it 2 P's or 1? That's 2 P's. These are just fun to play with. You have them on your desk, you use them, you lose it, not the end of the world. But they do everything you kind of need. I don't know. I think they're really great introduction of pens, if I'm being very honest with you. I think it's fantastic. Kat says she loves to draw with them. Yeah, I think that, just having them on hands, you can fill them. You can have a bunch of different sizes filled up all at the same time and be totally okay. All right, I'm just gonna rinse that one off for a second, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna try to fill that with some shimmer ink and see how well it works. The shimmer ink's gonna work better. Usually, you'll see more of it on a thicker pen than a thinner one, like this one here. So this one is 0.2. This is gonna be, I think they're like millimeters probably. Yeah. This is like a needle point. Oh my gosh. So yeah, definitely a giant difference in how we're writing with them. This one is more scratchy, but again, we're dealing with a very fine point here. It looks like I wrote puppy. Just writing fast at this point now, right? But I mean, you're dealing with very fine points here, so looking good. Give all these a little bit of a better rinse in a moment, but major difference, right, between like the 5 and the 2. I love writing with fine point, but this is almost too fine point. I mean, I have it, I love it, I got it for a reason because I knew it was so fine point. But think about like a lot of the gel pens. Think 3 millimeter typically is what you find for some of those nibs for fine point. Like this is super needle point here, but amazing, right? Looks so good, love it. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's put the cap on this ink. Trying to see. We have 2 different colors here from Ferris Wheel Press. These are both new ones that I just got. We have Current Crumble Pie, which is a magenta with a gold shimmer. And then we have a Citrine Mirage, which more is like a brown. But this is like I think this was pink and gold shimmer. Let me know in the chat which one we want to use to fill up the Preppy and see if it works. I'll leave that up to you. I'm going to read through the chat real quick and see what Tom is saying. I use one of my Preppies with Platinum's Chirukuru pigment ink. I love that color. It works really well. They write well and don't seem to dry out too quickly, which is awesome. We just looked up on Jet Pen. Shows it comes with a 5B graphite lead. Oh, you're looking up about the pencils. I got it. That works out really well. Citrine Mirage recently. So beautiful. It is a really beautiful ink. All right. Anyone else in the chat want to vote what color we're going with here? So we've got citrine or currant crumble pie? Citrine. We got 2 for citrine. Give it a second, see which one we're using. Tom, you haven't seen either? We can do a quick swatch of both of them. Maybe that'll be helpful. Let me grab a Q-tip real quick. All right, there we go. All right, let's take a look. So currant crumble pie is actually really nice. Jojo, they've colored leads? What? I did not know this. Tell me more. What colors do we got? All right, so that has a lot of shimmer here at the top. All right, so that's currant crumble pie. So really nice deep red with the shimmer. Even look at the Q-tip. Looks really cool. And then let's try out the citrine real quick. Let me get some of this shimmer mixed up. What's the paper? Let me see what the paper is. I've had this one in here for a while. Let's find out while that one's drying. I've got all my little stencils under here. What are we working with, y'all? Oh, it's Tomoe river paper. I think. I don't know, but that's what it is, from a Yamamoto paper. I just keep them in here. I have like 2 or 3 different pads, and this one has been really good to me. I've had it for a while. Okay, so that is that one. Look at my paper towel. It's like a radiant being has erupted on there. All right. All right, they have highlighter pink, green, and yellow for standard colors, green, red, and blue. All right, well, I am most definitely gonna take a look at that because I want blue. All right, and then there's the citrine mirage. So again, more shimmer, looking good. I'm thinking the current one might. We can try both. I think we're going to see the best color come from currant to really see it, because as the citrine dries, you see a little bit of it, but you really the red and the gold, I think, is what really like makes it pop off the paper. So we can try either. I'm not overly worried about it. It's just having fun. It's all that matters. And I said that was going to be the 0.5 we were going to use. That's this guy over here. Yeah, so those are all the pens I got. We'll just try this out real quick, and then we'll go ahead and talk about the Ferris Wheel Press, the Bijou, real quick, because that pen, I actually really love writing with it. It's really, really nice. So the colors on both of these are good. I'm gonna use the crumble pie just to try out real quick. I think we're gonna get the best look on that. This citrine is beautiful. I really do love it. I just don't know, like, for the example of, is it gonna work in this pen? Maybe it won't work out as well. So let's just use it, and then we can always do a different color, different day. I'm just gonna fill it up just a little tiny bit, but let's figure it out. Ooh, let me do something real quick. I'm always terrified with these bottles that they're gonna fall over. And so Ferris Wheel Press has these really cool ink holders, which are amazing. Also, just because I've given you the discount codes for all the other stuff, if you want to check out anything at Ferris Wheel Press, I do have a discount code there too, JA, and it's -MYP10. A little bit more difficult to get, but all the other pen stores also sell this ink, so you can get these from Atlas Stationers. You can get these from Vanness, wherever you want. Francisco, how's it going, my friend? Thanks for joining. Appreciate it, taking time out. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to just suck up a little bit of ink. Maybe a lot of bit of ink. We'll see how we write. All right, so we were running with the platinum. Sorry, my ink brain says always put caps on bottles, even if you're using it. All right, so this was the platinum Preppy, and then this was the currant crumble pie. Right, and this is the 05 Preppy. So I will tell you right now, yes. Hopefully, let me get that right spot. So you absolutely can see the shimmer with there if you want to use that. Now, really important thing to remember though, right? Y'all can actually see it happening right now, right? So, in your feed here, they're all relatively the same size as they go through. So from here to in here, you're going to see that it is soaking everything up inside of here. Now, what can happen is that they can get clogged sometimes. It is very much going to depend on the shimmer. I will tell you, Ferris Wheel Press ink usually has some very fine shimmer. Oh, they both dried so nice. Look at that. So it's important. And again, the thicker the pen nib that you have, the more that you're going to see this. The same thing goes with any type of inks that have shading on them. The thicker the pen, you're going to see more of that. The most important thing is that before you're using this is that you're giving it a really good shake, right? Because similar to what happens in these bottles, right? All of the shimmer sinks to the bottom. So you have to give these like a good shake, right? For us to be able to fill it to get a lot of that shimmer in there, right? Same thing on citrine. All of it sinks down here. So shake it, or you can just hold it upside down to kind of get that moving in there. The same thing is going to be true for your pen when you're writing with it, right? If you put your cap on your pen and you're storing it down or storing it sideways or whatever way you're storing it, the shimmer is going to then sink to that part of it, right? So what's really important is that you want to be able to kind of turn it, right? Do what you need to do to make that happen. So all will work out really well there. So yes, you can use shimmer inks inside of these and they work out really well. All right, so let's go ahead and check out the last pen that we're going to be talking about today. This one is from Ferris Wheel Press. This is, as I've been playing around with Ferris Wheel Press pens more and more, I have come to find, definitely my favorites from them, right? Let me do something real quick. I wanted to make sure I can get you the price on this one because I don't have it easily there. Fountain pen, the Bijou fountain pen. So this pen is $130 from Ferris Wheel Press. I personally I like the way that these write. I do feel like they're a little expensive for kind of what you get. And this is just my opinion here, right? Again, I'm like caveating that because I'm saying like if we're taking a look at different pens and what we're using, right? We talked before, like this is $160. This is $160, right? So, you're looking at a few different things with this. Now, they are super nice. They've got shimmer on them. The insides of these, I will say, are incredibly well designed. I think these are some of the most beautiful looking pens. You do kind of get the dual nib here, right? We've got that in silver and some of that gold plate. You have this just incredibly ornate design around the top part of this pen too. So it really is going to come down to like what you like. Some people maybe don't like certain styles. The most important part is how well does a pen write. That's really what it comes down to. And I can tell you that of all the different pens, I have a number of fountain pens from Ferris Wheel Press. The Bijou writes beautifully. It absolutely does, 100%. And it always works really well with shimmer inks as well. So very fancy, very nice. This one, because it is from this catnip collection here, is colored that way. They did put out an ink, catnip cafe. No shimmer on this one though. We can use both inks to see what it looks like. With and without shimmers on them. It's cool. And so it's like all a part of the collection. So it just fits inside of that green space and it's very nice. The packaging on this is very nice. It does come with a nice pen holder here from Ferris Wheel Press. So like the packaging, it's nice. They always have good designs. I always do appreciate what they're doing and like their overall story. And I enjoy working with them too. But I do like to throw that out there because I think, especially as I talk about different things, the price of pens, it does matter. Again, you can get a discount code on there if you want. I just think that it is, it's up to you. Tom said he just bought the cheap carousel fountain. They don't seem to dry out and write okay. Yeah, I have them as well. I have a lot of them. I don't necessarily prefer them, but they do an okay job writing. I just think they're a bit expensive. I think they're a bit expensive for the kind of the less expensive or cheaper version for the carousels. Those I want to say typically run like in 30, right? Like about $30 or so for some of those pens. But I don't know. I'm sorry. They did change. They were about $22 is how much those are. And it looks like they have some actually on their site right now for $12. So that could work out really well. So let's go ahead and just let's do a little writing test with this. I want to say this is a medium. Yeah. So I don't know how well y'all will be able to see this. There you go. Oh, my phone did a good job. So you'll see right there at the top, it's a medium nib. And then you can also see some more of those details inside of this nib too. Very different, right, than anything else that we've taken a look at today in a totally different way. I really love it. So let's go ahead and try it out. So I'll try it. Let's write with the citrine since we wrote with the crumble pie over here that we saw. Also, let me grab the holder for the smaller. This is my favorite pen carriage ever. Like the very first time that I saw these carriages for these smaller bottles, I was like, I must have it. It's so freaking cool. Makes it look like a globe. So it's always good. Tom gets his at last chance. They're always half off. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna buy it, this is a good time for sure. But not my favorite. Right? That's again, I say all of this because it's just my opinion on it. It's not to talk bad. Just if I'm gonna buy a pen for any amount of money, I want it to be something more interesting than some of those carousel pens. Just my own personal opinion there. All right, so this is Ferris Wheel Press. And this is called a Bijou. I believe that this Bijou is replacing their brush pens that they had. I think everything's the same. They're just calling it something different. And this one is a medium. So these write really nice. They have a good little bounce to them. And like I said, they handle shimmer inks really well. A lot of Ferris Wheel Press, and you probably see a lot of my swatches that I do, they do so much with shimmer inks. And what's really important is I personally feel like if you're going to be putting out a lot of product that, is shimmer, your stuff better work with it. So I can say for sure that their pens always have worked really well with them. The rollerball pens I'm iffy on, not 100%, with a shimmer ink necessarily, because the whole rollerball mechanism in there just gets stuff caught and it doesn't work great. But Ferris Wheel Press and their fountain pens work really nice with their shimmer inks. So so that was a medium, right? And you can still see, try to knock everything off of my desk. Trying to show you some of that shimmer. You get a little bit of it on there. Again, we did a big old fat swatch here, so you're going to really see it there. But you get a little flecks of it inside of here that you can start to see, mostly where it's a little bit thicker. There you go. I was trying to get the light to catch it a little bit to show you that, so you can kind of see it in some of those. But it all depends. Again, I think that different colors are going to do better or worse, right, on it. So you'll kind of deal with it from there and see what works well. All right, and I said I was going to do the Catnip Cafe just to show you all what that looks like. The color itself is really nice. I think it's really important. Zahara said she struggled with the carousel with shimmer, so I stick to other pens for it. Yeah, I think that's what I really honestly feel like that's just kind of everyone's experience. Is some of the pens work really well, some of them, maybe not the best for all the different types. The other thing too is that, like, compared to a lot of the other pens, this one's much thinner. It has a very fine, elegant feel to their pens, and that's for sure compared to some other ones. But again, it needs to be really nice for that price point. Personally, for me, Catnip Cafe is this one. I'm at the end of my paper here. So love this color. There's no shimmer or anything on it, but also just to kind of show you the difference on how they write there. Let's do a little cursive over here for y'all. Something that I know a lot of people. Oh, that's a B, not catnip. Catnip. Something a lot of people have been saying when I do my swatch videos is that it would be nice to see writing samples with the inks. So I'm trying to do more of that as a whole. So in the future, when I do those other videos and stuff like that, my swatch videos, I'll be doing it along with a writing sample, because I think it is important to be able to see like what an ink writes like, especially when you're dealing with like shimmer inks, for instance, right? Like, I know because I've been playing with inks for a while now. When I do a big fat swatch like this, or I do the method right where I put it down and use the plastic bag to smear it around, it's gonna look totally different than it does when you write with it. So like, I think a great example is the citrine Mirage here. You do a big huge sample of that and it's just glitter city here, but then you write with it and you don't always get as much. Now you do get a little bit in there. It's going to depend very much on the pen and how much ink it puts out. But something like this one, like that current crumble pie, I think that the juxtaposition of that dark red color with that gold shimmer just makes it look like Christmas on paper. And then, you're writing with a 5 millimeter pen here and you get all of that in there. It just shows up differently, right? I think that it's interesting kind of like how we get into it and like what we're doing with it. Cass says Ferris Wheel Press has an excellent loyalty program and a lot of downloadable artwork and coloring pages. Oh, I've never seen that before. That's interesting. Christina's thinking about getting a dip pen for buying some shimmer inks. What's a good suggestion for a dip pen? I mean, we have a lot of options if we want to. So just to throw it out there. So that's all the pens I got as a part of that. But Christina, I will answer your question if you want and kind of just show you real quick. Let me grab a few. I have all of my dip pens in the same spot, so I can show you what we got. Where's this one up here? So dip pen wise, you do have a lot of different options, right? You have your glass, you have your metals, and you have kind of your other ones that are kind of in there. So these are like some of my most favorite. I do have some others. I think it's a good swath of them. Oh wait, actually grab one of these just to show you different styles, essentially, right? These almost look exactly the same, but they are different. So when it comes to dip pens, there's a lot of different options. You can buy a fountain pen and just dip it in ink and write with it. You don't always have to fill it all the way up. Problem is that when you do that, it will start to fill up the feet a little bit because it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, and then you have that in there. So if you're just looking for something that's not a fountain pen and you just want to dip it instead of what you're doing, there are a lot of different options. So one option would be buying them off of Amazon, for instance. Amazon, hate them or love them, you can get a lot of different stuff from them for inexpensive. And so dip pens all kind of work the same. The ink gets caught up in these rungs, and then you can write with it. And they come in different sizes as well. And so it's all about kind of like what you're looking for. So this is a glass one, a little scratchy on the page. You have to be a little careful about them because they're made out of glass and they can chip, but they work really well. So like this one I got off of Amazon. I think I got this one and a bunch of others for like maybe less than $20 if you're just like, oh, I want to try a bunch of stuff. I always forget where I get different stuff from. This might be from Archer and Olive, but it might just be a dip pen. So like you can get them. They come in all these different styles, really pretty cores. This is one I got recently. It has like a little cat tail on it. And it's kind of, colored that way, but they all work essentially the same. Ink gets put up on here, and then you can write with them, and they come in different styles as you go through with it. And if anyone in the chat has any dip pens that they really like as well, by all means, please shout it out, because we love sharing here on this channel. We love introducing each other to new things. It's my favorite thing to do. So you have glass. Then you can move into other materials like metal and steel. So these are probably two of my favorite. The Colorverse here is really nice, and they kind of look the same. They're doing very similar things. It's two different brands. And then you have Kakamori that makes this one over here. I had a Kakamori first before we had the Colorverse one that came out, but they kind of work in a similar way, similar to the other ones as well. And let me just shake up the shimmer again to really kind of show you what's up. Similar to the glass pens, they will hold inside of these metal channels that are in here. So you can get a lot of writing time out of these as well. And what I also love about, well, I don't love that it won't fit inside the bottle, is that depending on the angle that you write with, I can write straight up like this, or you can turn your pen on the side to get different widths, right? Works really well. These are really great, super easy to clean. It's the other thing I love about these. I think it's fantastic. Let me squirt that guy off, right? Works well. Same thing for the Colorverse one. This one's just, it's a lot thinner than the other one is. And I personally think that the Colorverse one is also a lot scratchier. And it needs to get a good amount of ink on there. But it does the same thing, right? So they all work out really well. Love them. And then my favorite, oh my gosh, I almost poured water into my ink bottle. Oh, that would have been devastating. Then my other favorite thing is something like Kakamori. And I just saw someone mentioned on here the Kakamori glass dip pen. I have it, and it is my favorite thing to write with. Hands down. I will always write. Always, it will be my favorite thing ever. So this is the glass dip pen. It is thicker. It only writes in this one deal, right? So it's not going to be like the other Kakamoris, right, that matter on here. And it's amazing. And my favorite thing about these, and as well as these other two, is that then you can buy pen holders. I'll just grab some of my favorites off of here. So it's like, now, these can be expensive too, don't get me wrong. But we've got my Breakfast at Tiffany's pen here, which is really nice. And so these just come out, and you can put them on other pens. And then you just pop them into these different pieces. So I have a bunch here. This one was from Rob's Penworks. This one was from Papa J. Let me tell you, this man, Luke, works. What, I mean, tell me that's not the most amazing, beautiful pen holder in the entire world, right? And so that's what I love, is you get the same consistency of your pen, but then you change depending on your personality. We've got these little tiny ones here. River City Pen Company, big fan. Different things you can do. Also, Kakamori also has just your regular calligraphy nib here too. So if you're nervous about them, the glass nibs are somewhat difficult to come upon because they only make so many at a time. So like when I got my glass nib, they had put something on Instagram that they were for sale. I can't even tell you the quickness in which I went and purchased this. And then they sell out, and then no one can get them until they're out again. So it does get a little bit difficult. The other ones that we talked about here from Kakamori, these, and even this calligraphy pen nib, these are easier to come by. But like this is, and again, I feel like this is better than even some of like the Speedball and other ones you get in calligraphy sets. It's a bit different. It's made to last longer than a lot of those. So I think that should be helpful to you. I know you only asked a quick question and I gave you a bit of a longer answer, but hopefully that's helpful in knowing where to go for. And we've got a bunch of different stuff that we can do there. Sarah, what's the difference between the shapes of the glass dip pen nibs? That's something I understood. I think it's all strictly just aesthetics, to be honest with you. The nib, the tip, what you write with is the most important part because that's how thick or thin it's going to be. But the difference between the thickness, matters, but like, you know, the difference between these two, having like that type of a glass dip nib, I think is all aesthetics. It's still holding on to ink differently. I mean, this is a straight line versus here, so maybe you get, more ink on something longer like that, but I've never noticed much of a difference before. So that's kind of the main thing there. Tom, I had to order my glass dip pen directly from Kakamori in Japan as it was set with the ink holder and glass dip. Yeah, I got mine directly from them too. All of my friends that sell Kakamori on their sites couldn't get the glass ones either, so I had to order straight from them. Christine, if I still had cats, I would never consider glass pens. Yeah, I mean, I don't have cats, and I don't always consider glass pens because I've had some of them chip, and it makes me very sad. So I try to be good. They come with little plastic holders on them, and usually I keep them on if I'm using them. All right, friends. Well, we went really long today. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up now as my dogs start to bark and go crazy. But I really appreciate you all hanging out with me today and checking out my new pens, even though we went on a bit of a dip pen adventure here at the end. All fun and games. I love talking about pens and ink nonetheless. All the fountain pens we got today. I'll try to link them in the descriptions below if you're part of the rewatch crew and you weren't able to catch me live today, or even if you want to come back and check them out. I'll add some of those links in there for you so you can check them out on your own. I'll put the discount codes down there for you as well if you want to save some money. And most definitely, please let me know if you get any of these pens for yourself. I'm excited to hear about your experiences using them. The fun part about pens is playing with them and using them. So I'd love to hear from you if you end up getting anything from today's stream and chat through it. So thank you all for hanging out with me today. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And my friends, I'll talk to you later. Have a wonderful day.